Okay, this is for U.S. history. We are continuing our French Revolution. We are calling it something called the Reign of Terror. The terror in France lasted from 1793 to 1794. Thousands of who were suspected of anti-revolutionary activities or helping France's enemies were sent to the guillotine. Causes: there were several extents to spark the Reign of Terror. French monarch Louis XVI was executed on January of 1793. It was clear the ongoing war with Austria was going badly. The peasants in Vendée, the northwestern France, revolted in March 1793. France's leading political group, Jacobins, started to become more radical and were determined to crush any resistance in their new nation. In August, they declared terror is the order of the day. By late summer, many of the areas of France were rebelling against a new radical Jacobin government. This threat the stability of France, so the convention took emergency measures. The convention set up a committee of public safety comprised of 12 members who aimed at allow revolution to survive during a crisis. One decree from the committee stated in April 1793, the committee shall talk in secret. It shall be responsible for watching over the work of the government. Under the critical circumstances, it is authorized to take measures to defend the revolution against external and internal enemies. A fear of traitors had grown in France following the Revolutionary War, leading to another measure, revolutionary tribunals, or courts. This was changed to try people quickly. It can be seen in an excerpt from the law introduced by the Committee for Public Safety. Suspects shall be locked up. The proof necessary to convict enemies can be any kind of evidence. If proof already exists, there need no further witnesses. For the penalty for all offenses under the law, revolutionary tribunal, is death. One of the first people executed during the Reign of Terror was Marie Antoinette, the former Queen of France. It is difficult to estimate how many people met their deaths during the time period. More than 12,000 were officially guillotined, but many others were shot, drowned, or put to death in some other way. Of those who were guillotined, 1,021 were nobles, 2,923 were middle class, 674 were clergy, and 7,878 were workers and peasants. Another 140 were in unknown cases. Some of those who faced the tribunals were cruelly mistreated in the most severe manner. Below are 5 cases from the 1793 execution board that exhibit severe punishment. So case 1 was Jean-Baptiste Henry, his 18-year-old tailor, convicted of having sawn down a tree of liberty, executed in September 6, 1793. Marie Plaisant was a seamstress, convicted of having exclaimed that she was an aristocrat and did not care a fig for the nation, condemned to death and executed that day. Henriette Francois Marbeufou, 55 years old, convicted of having hoped for arrival of the Austrians and Prussians and of keeping food for them, condemned to death and executed the same day. Francois Bertrand, 37-year-old publican, convicted of having provided the defenders of the country with sour wine, condemned and executed the same day. Jean-Julien Wagoner, sentenced to 12 years hard labor, cried out, "Long live the king," brought back to the tribunal and condemned to death. The terror was a horrible and ruthless time. One account states a woman was charged with a crime of having wept at her husband's execution. She was condemned to sit for hours under the blade in which she upon her drop by drop of blood of her husband before she was released by death. The Committee of Public Safety was controlled by the Jacobins, a radical political group. There were 2 major flaws within the Committee of Public Safety. The law of Prairial allowed revolutionary tribunals to convict people without hearing evidence. The law of suspects was passed in September 1793 and allowed people to put in prison without a trial. Robespierre, Maximilien Robespierre, was a leading figure in the committee. He was born in Arras, France in 1758. He became a lawyer and started defending the poor in the 1780s. In 1789-92, Robespierre was elected to the Estates General, National Assembly, and National Conventions. He spoke out against slavery and the death penalty and became a leading Jacobin leader. In July of 1793, Robespierre was elected to the Committee of Public Safety. In December of 1793, Robespierre suddenly came out of support of the Terror, after years of resisting members of the committee who wanted to intensify it. From 1793 to 94, Robespierre had many executed. He was quoted as saying, "One's duty is to punish traitors, to help the needy, respect the weak, defend the oppressed, do good for one's neighbor, and have behaved justly." Ironically, he had said earlier in life, "I detest the death penalty." In 1794, he was denounced and arrested by the convention. July 28, 1794, Robespierre was guillotined with 21 of his closest supporters. Even though Robespierre was executed, the terror continued. In Lyons, France, Jacobin ordered 300 to be executed by cannon fire because the guillotine was too slow. In Nantes, France, barges containing 2,000 people were towed to the middle of the river Loire and sunk. Everyone drowned. Birds hovered over the water, eating dead flesh. The river's water was so contaminated that fishing was banned. In Paris, France, thousands watched executions. Women took their knitting with them, and bets were placed in which order the prisoners would be executed. Eventually, the people got sick of all this killing, and in mid-1794, the terror had died out. As with the Austrian threat decreased, so did the need for emergency government. After the terror, the Jacobins lost their power in France. The National Convention continued ruling as a government. A new constitution was written denying the rights to vote to those who could not pay taxes. The Constitution established the official office of 5 directors, known as the Directory, who ruled France from 1795 to 1799. During this time, they used the army to put down a number of disputes within France. The Directory fell into crisis in 1798 because the government was running out of money due mostly to foreign affairs. France's armies were badly defeated in wars in Italy, and there were several food shortages. As things got worse, the Directory in France, one of the directors, began to look around for a general who could control France. This person, Napoleon Bonaparte, was found and changed France forever. So after that, read the questions, make sure you use a text box, and that's about it. Make sure you fill out the attendance sheet. I will see you tomorrow.